American versus French houses. If you ever wonder kind of what are the difference, well, it's good because today I'm going to talk about them in this video. If you don't know, I am French, so I did grow up in France. I currently also am in France, but I also lived about 5 years in the United States. So I did live in American houses and in French houses, so I've seen quite a lot of differences, and I thought it would be fun for me to share some of them with you today. So first we're going to talk a bit about outside the house, because the first thing I found when I was in the US was the open yards. In France a lot more yards are fenced in. When you will come over here you will see that, and in the US a lot more yards are open, I guess. So of course it depends if you're more in the city or if you're more in the country. However, even if you compare suburbs, you will see in the US usually a lot more yards are open yards, whereas in France everything is closed in and fenced in. So I think just because you have a lot more space, so between your neighbor you have a lot more space, where we don't have that, so everything is fenced in, I guess. So it was one of the first things I found when I was in the US. Number 2 are mailbox. So yes, mailbox are quite different. First, the design is different. American boxes are usually rectangle, they're on a stick by themselves. Whereas in France, because we have fence, they are usually in the fence, and they are usually squared. So it's not the same design. Ours are usually in metal, whereas you guys have like thick plastic mailbox, I guess. And of course there are mostly standards as well. Like in the US most people have the same mailbox. In France we also have mostly the same mailbox. Another thing about the mailbox, which was really weird for me because we don't have that in France, is just a little red flag you have to send mail out. So I didn't know what it was before, because like I said, in France we don't have that. You cannot send mail out with your mailbox, you just can get your mail in. But in the US, if you're not from the US, basically you have a little red flag on top of the mailbox. It allows you to put it up if you want to send out some mail, and your mailman will see the little flag up and you will go to your mailbox to get your mail, which is really interesting, because we don't have that, and yeah, so I thought it was kind of funny. Number 3 are the outside of the house in general, the design. So the first thing I found was usually in France we have more levels. So for example in France most houses, at least for example around me in my town, more houses are like 3 floors on top of the basement, of course, but we have 3 floors. But the floor, I guess the space on the floor is smaller. But in the US where I was, the space on the floor, the ground was a lot larger, but you had less levels, like for example 2 floors plus the basement, instead of 3 or 4. But it was kind of longer, and a lot of houses also had actually 1 floor. So that's one thing. Also, the look of the houses are a lot different. So in France we still have that kind of like older kind of look with the rock showing from the house. And in the US, more that modern look, which a lot of houses also had like that plastic tiles all over. Number 5 are shutters. So in France we have these huge shutters in front of our windows outside the house. So usually they are made of metal, but in the older times sometimes they were made out of wood. However, maybe more modern, like new houses being built, don't always have shutters, but my house is like a little older, not that old, but a little older, so it still have shutters. Many houses still have shutters. You will see them a lot in France, even though a lot of new houses don't have them. So what do they do basically? The first thing is they keep your house cool. So during the summer, so you kind of close them up so the sun doesn't get in your house, so your house keep cool. Also, it kind of helps with like break-in and stuff like that, because it just blocks the window, so you cannot break in. You can break the window. It's like really hard. Because basically you shut the shutters and you close them from the inside, so from the outside you cannot do anything. It's like these huge metal shutters. So it just helps with like keep your house cool, help with break-in, and yeah, so you will see that a lot in France as well. And I think they are just really cute, so I don't know, it gives a little bit of charm to the house. So number 6 is something we don't really have in France, but I've seen a lot in the United States, are screens. So it's like little screens you have on your windows or your doors to prevent from mosquitoes. So it's really cool because you can have your window open, so have your air coming in, but you still have that mosquito shutter, so you can open your window but still don't have the mosquitoes coming in. And same with the door, like you sometimes have double doors, like you have the actual door and then you have that little screen mosquito door where it's the same, you can have your door open and have the air coming in, see outside, but still have that mosquito can't get in, which is really cool, and I think it's awesome. I mean, it makes total sense. We don't have them really here. I never seen them in France, at least where I live. Maybe more on the countryside, maybe some people have them, I really don't know. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. Number 7, now we're going to go inside the house from now on. So the first huge thing I found in the US was air conditioning. So it might seem crazy to you because in the US it's everywhere, but in France we don't really have that much air conditioning. It's not as common and as normal than it is in the US. So in the US I've seen it everywhere. I mean, where I was in PA, where it's not the warmest state, I mean during the summer it can get pretty hot, but it's not like Arizona or Utah or some other states that are really hot. But there was still air conditioning pretty much everywhere. So number 8 are power outlets. So if you don't know, we don't have the same voltage in France and the United States. So if you do come to France, or if you're French and you go to the US, of course you need to have adapters, I don't know how to call it, because it's not the same voltage and it's not even the same design of the outlets. So you do need to be careful with that because yeah, if you bring, for example, something from here, so like a hair dryer or something like that, it would not work as well, or it would maybe work, or it might be a bit dangerous if you use it from a French one in the US or in the American one in France, because it's not the same voltage, so they're not made for the same voltage. Also, the power outlets are different. So here in France, it's like 3 little holes, I guess, round holes. But in the US, if I remember correctly, it's 2 holes, and it's more like thin little rectangle ones. So I will insert pictures to show you. But so it's not the same design of the power outlet, and it's not the same voltage. So just something to know. So number 9 is kind of random, but I've seen it everywhere, and it just kind of bothers me because it's just a weird difference, but it's everywhere. It's doorknobs. So why am I talking about doorknobs? It's just because in the US I've seen doorknobs I never seen in France actually, which is just so random. But in France, every handle I've ever seen in my life, it's a handle, like lever kind of handle. But in the US, almost everywhere I went, a lot of places at least, it was like round doorknob with, like, if you want to put the keys like right in the middle. And yeah, it's just so random, but it's like a difference I've seen that kind of bothered me, because like when sometimes you still use 2 doorknobs with levers, like it's so weird to just turn like a round doorknob. It's just not the same thing you do with your hand. So every time I kind of was like, I don't know, just at first I guess I was kind of bothered by it because I couldn't just push on it, I had to turn with the handle. I don't know, I just thought it was weird and kind of funny. So yeah, you will see doorknobs are quite different. Number 10 are floors. So usually in France you will see a lot more like wooden floors or tile floors, but in the US I've seen a lot more carpets, I guess. A lot of people add carpet, especially in more the main living areas, like your living room, even your bedroom, stuff like that. You will have carpet usually a lot of time. Where in France you will not see that very much. I mean, at least where I've been, in all the houses I've been, I don't see that many people with like carpeting. A lot of people have, like I said, either tiles or wooden floor. So for example, in my bedroom, it's a wooden floor. So I prefer like wooden floor just because I think it's so pretty, it's just beautiful and just so much easier to clean. However, carpeting is fun just because it's like soft and it's nice if you have kids to play with and stuff like that. It's easier on like a carpet. However, it's so hard to clean, and I think it's kind of dirty because it's just not, you can't really clean it that much. But a wooden floor is just so nice to clean. So I don't know, which one do you prefer? I guess if you're from the US, maybe carpet, I don't know. I feel like it probably depends also where you are in the US, but at least in PA where I was, and I even went to other states where I've seen houses with a lot of carpeting. So not everyone has carpet, but a lot more than I've seen in France, for example. So number 11, our bathrooms, more toilets, I guess. We don't really have our toilets in our bathroom. Usually they are separated. Most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, most houses have their toilets separated from the bathroom. And I think it's so much better because I don't really like in the US where the toilet is inside the bathroom. because I think one, it's kind of annoying because if it's not separated, like if someone goes to the toilet, well, they block the entire bathroom. You can go to the bathroom. In France, you can do both. You can have someone in the toilet, someone in the bathroom. Plus, I think like the toilet is kind of gross, you know, it doesn't smell good and all that stuff. So I think it's nice that it has its own little room. So it's just to do your thing. You have a window and just the toilet, and you have your bathroom that is all nice and clean. So yeah, in the US, it's usually in all the houses I've been to, the toilets were inside the bathroom, whereas in France, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they are separated in separated rooms. So the last one I'm going to talk about, number 12, are kitchen aisles. So I've seen a lot more kitchen aisles in the US than we have in France, and I think actually I believe in France if you have one you call it like an American aisle or an American kitchen if you have it like that. So an like open kind of kitchen with like a big kitchen aisle in it, it's called an American kitchen I believe. But yeah, it's something we don't really have in France. Most of the time you will not have any kitchen aisle in France, but in the US not everyone has them, of course, because I think you need to have a lot of space and it's probably kind of expensive too. But a lot, at least, is a lot more common, I guess, in the US than in France. So it's just something I found in the US, which I think is so nice. I mean, the kitchen aisle is amazing, but yeah, we don't really have them in France, but in the US a lot more people have them. I actually made an entire video about French kitchen, what we have in our French kitchen, and a few differences we have between American kitchens and French kitchens, so go watch that if you're interested in knowing a little more about the small differences between both countries. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time for another video about France, the US, traveling, I don't know, something fun. So see you next time, bye!